Welcome back to part 3. This is Noah Sussman, and we're pulling some more surfaces over this 3D sketch, 3D line sketch of this piece of eyewear. Hopefully you've seen the first 2 parts. If you haven't, basically I created a 3D line drawing, which you see here, and I've started pulling surfaces in Gravity Sketch. What I'm doing here, and the reason I'm starting at this point in the video, is that I am using some of the tools in Gravity Sketch to think my way through how I would rebuild this in Alias or in Rhino. This area right here that we're looking at, where I'm pulling these red lines, is a pretty complicated set of surfaces. It's 3 concave surfaces coming together. And what I do is I think out how I would best build it so that I have 4-sided surfaces and I can create continuity to get good highlights and reflections through this area. And you'll see me struggle with this for a while, but in the end I think there's a pretty reasonable solution that would be buildable in Alias if I would go back and build this model. I've switched environments. I find that the warehouse environment that you see here helps because it just gives stronger reflections in a more organic way. I mean, I'm not going to achieve perfect surface continuity in Gravity Sketch. Who knows, maybe that'll come in a later version. But for now, it helps me just get a quick read on those surfaces. And in this case, you'll see I just rough this area out relatively quickly, and I'll come back to it later in the video. So I'm going to cue up some music here and let you sit back and watch as I push and pull surfaces over this model, and I'll pop in and out time to time just to highlight certain things I'm doing or certain tools I'm using. So enjoy. So I'm going to pop back in here and highlight this new feature as well. Rather, one of the new features in this latest version of Gravity Sketch, and that is the surface, I don't know what they're called, the control lines, the surface lines, whatever. It's a grid on the surface that shows you, based on your control points, it shows you what the I guess the polygon sections on your surfaces are. And it's a bit more technical, but it's just another way to help you see how clean your surfaces are. And you can see that corner I was working on before. It's messy. It's messy, but I think it's buildable. I think it's buildable in a NURBS modeler, like in Alias. So you can see it's definitely far from perfect, but it's just cool to have this new visualization mode in Gravity Sketch. And who knows, maybe they'll start to push out some surface continuity tools that would be pretty amazing. Well, not maybe, I'm sure it's coming. It's just a matter of time. But anyway, I just thought I'd pop in and point out that this is another one of the new cool features, these grid lines on the surfaces that help with construction and visualization. Here's another one of the nice new features, the ability to grab rows of control points, vertical or horizontal, and you'll see red or green, and you can actually grab and copy an entire row. Super cool feature, new to this version of Gravity Sketch. And yet another new feature, freaky zebra lines. Not sure how helpful they are at this point. Without surface continuity tools, zebra stripes are a bit optimistic, but for me that means they are probably gonna get some surface continuity tools in the program soon. So at this point, you see me start to mess around with the environment, with the lighting. Once again, I've spent a lot of time doing more technical stuff. And so I'm taking a little break. I'm just kind of enjoying the surfaces, enjoying seeing my ballpoint pen sketch come to life for a pretty low cost and time investment, if I'm honest. It's really fun, and this illustration like environment is really fun to interact with. I'm just messing around, trying to see this in a new light, trying to keep that excitement up, to keep myself pushing, because there's definitely more work to do here. So looking at the reflections, checking this object out, and at this point I'll jump back in and start to push on some of the remaining details and surfaces. When I was learning how to draw and render when I was in school, we talked about shadows, drop shadows, and you basically use drop shadows only when they help explain your form. And so I thought, let's throw a little ground plane in there just to help me visualize this. So I throw in this flat surface, and you can see that sort of helps ground the object, and it helps sort of tell the form story. It helps keep me excited, because again, keeping that excitement up is how you power through some of the grunt work to do the technical details, the tuning of the lines and the tuning of the surfaces. And at this point, I'm just going to check it out without the more illustrated style of line work. And what you see is that the line work tends to hide a lot of cheating and a lot of flaws. So I'll often do this at this point, pull the lines out, drop them out on a different layer, and go ahead and try to bring those surfaces a little bit closer to what I might want on a finished model. And so here I'll work for a while without lines, just to have a look at the flow, the surface flow, the highlights and the reflections. And with that, we come to the end of part 3. So stick around. Hopefully this has been interesting, and we will push this. Well, I'll push it. You can watch me push it in part 4. Hope you enjoyed. And once again, thanks for watching.